Hey everyone, welcome back to Ragtag Stacking. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit about silver stacking exit strategies. And the first one, and it's probably the most easy and the most straightforward example of the exit strategy, is dying. You know what I mean? Some people, they don't want to sell their stack at all. They want to just pass it on to family, whether it's their spouse or their son, daughter, grandchildren, whatever it is. That's been the plan for the decades. You've been putting it away, preserving your wealth, hedging against inflation, and once you pass on, you want to be giving this as a gift to your family. That's all well and good. That's a very easy, straightforward, no fuss, no muss. You don't have to put any thought into it. Or do you? Because you know what you're doing. You know what your stacking strategy is. You know how to look for deals. You know what a reasonable price is above spot price. You know what a reasonable price for resale is. But your grandson Billy might not, unless you've been talking to him and trying to explain it to him. He'll have no idea. So that's a terrible idea for you to just stack your whole life for decades and decades and pass it on to someone who has no clue what to do with it. And they'll just go to a pawn shop and they'll get ripped off. They'll get like $60, 60 cents on the dollar for what their silver is worth, and just put it into a pile of useless fiat currency and just sit on it. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to have the safes. He doesn't have the space in his dorm room or his apartment. Whatever it is, you got to think about all these things. You spent your whole life building up this stack. You don't want it to go to waste when you pass it down to somebody. So that your exit strategy there, even though you don't really need to do a lot of legwork because you're going to be dead, while you're alive, make sure you educate the people you're passing it down to. That's the strategy with this one here. You know what I mean? There's not much that you can affect with the not dying part, but you can definitely affect the part of educating the person you're passing it down to. So yeah, it's a pretty straightforward exit strategy when you're looking to pass everything down. But also there's some people that want to use, if not all, at least a portion of their stack for something in the future. And one of the things that I suggest is that definitely don't have an exit strategy that just results, like I said before with the pawn shop, that just results in cash. You know what I mean? If you have all of this silver and all of this gold, I'm talking about silver primarily, but gold as well, and you just convert it back into fiat down the road, you're not really accomplishing anything, because the whole reason was to fight against that inflation that comes with the fiat currency. So you did a good job for the decades you were stacking, but if you just turn it right back into a pile of cash, then it kind of defeats the purpose. So one of the good things you can do with your stacking strategy is selling it for another hard asset. So if you have it where it's, you do have your physical savings account and your hedge, and that's the cheap bars and rounds and the cheapest weight that you could put away, you have that for the long haul and you put it off to one side. But then you can also, the other half of your stack can be things that are a little bit more liquid, a little bit, it will be easier to move when it comes time to sell. And, you can have something that, this is your sell stack. This is this part of your stack that once it gets to a certain point, you'll be selling it. And then there can be another part where you don't touch it. So you can set a goal with that part of your stack that you're looking to sell, that once that reaches the point where you can pay off the rest of the mortgage on your house. That's something that you can sell your stack and put it into a hard asset. It's not just going to be sitting there and just being inflated through the roof because it's just a pile of cash. You're putting it into another hard asset, like the silver. That's hard. In your hands, it's physical. You're going to be wanting to sell or convert that silver into something else in that line. You know what I mean? You don't want it to just be converted back into something that is useless for the most part. It's got denominations on it. It's paper money, funny money. You can buy stuff with it, but for the most part, it's not real money. This is real money. And another part of the strategy is you need to create relationships with the people that you're looking to sell to. Because if it comes to the point where it's like, oh yeah, I have that, my stack is now worth what the goal was set for. Now I can buy this car outright, whatever it is. You need a new car, and this is the goal that you were setting yourself to. As I said, it's not my strategy, but some people, they do stack silver for that reason, to put money aside and use it at a later date to pick something up like that. That's all well and good too. That's the end result. You still need to sell the stuff. So you can have the exit strategy in your mind for what you're going to do with the money after you get it, but you still need to get that money. And that's a thing you need to definitely build up relationships with people in the years and hopefully decades for some people of stacking. Over all those years, hopefully you'll build up some relationships with some local coin shop owners or with some people online, peer-to-peer, because it's going to be a battle. You know what I mean? Just think about the way you pick up silver. You're not just going to take the first price and say, yep, I'll buy it. You know what I mean? You're going to look on a couple of different websites. You're going to go to a couple of different stores. Even to your friend, the local coin shop owner, you can say, that's a little high for what I normally get here. Can you just maybe knock off a percentage point or two? And if you're a loyal customer, they might give you a better price compared to someone walking off the street that's just going to be a one-time customer. So yes, you definitely need to put the work in. And I mean, it's not like back-breaking labor to do this. You're going to the coin shops anyways. You're picking up your silver, you're stacking your silver. Spend an hour to talk about it as kids, grandkids, whatever it is. Just strike up a conversation, get a nice relationship going with the guy, because it will benefit you in the years that you're still buying silver. And then when it comes time to sell, you might get a little bit more of a favorable return. He might give you, a couple of percentage points over spot, more than what you'd be getting online. So yeah, you need to create these relationships so that in the long run, like down the road, you have the best sort of scenario and the best chance to get the most out of your silver. So yes, it might be hard to think about exit strategies, especially when you're just getting into the silver stacking, because you see how much the premiums affect your purchases. You're going to be flushing money down the drain if you keep buying silver and then you keep needing to sell it because you overextended yourself and you need them. It's a good way to think about it, where with the silver that you buy, you got to think about it as can I hold on to this for 10 years? Can I just buy it and forget about it? And if you set your budget properly, then you can. You'll have enough money saved up so that you don't run into the emergencies. Even with planning and strategies, sometimes emergencies and stuff happen that you might need to dip into it. As long as you've taken care of the things that you can control, like properly, budgeting and making sure you have enough money. If something down the road happens where it's just too much for the reserve cash and emergency fund that you build up, then unfortunately you might need to have the silver. So as much as it's not a good idea to sell your silver a couple of months after you get it, it is a good idea to have that exit strategy for down the road. So yeah, exit strategies are kind of weird and they're kind of different, because it's especially with me, I'm always thinking about the buying. I'm always thinking about my strategy for buying, trying to get the cheapest here, where I'm going to buy it, thresholds for free shipping, just trying to be the most efficient with my buying. And a lot of people don't think about the selling, because that's always, when you think about selling, you're always hearing people, you never want to sell your silver. Well, that's true. You don't want to sell your silver when it's still buried in premiums. But when we're talking about decades down the road and you've made some money up on here, just with if you've been stacking for 50 years, just look at how spot price has moved in 50 years. So you can imagine your stack has probably gained some value just from spot price going up. If you're in the black and you have a really good idea on what you're going to be doing with this money, and you're going to convert it into another asset like a car, or down payment on a house, paying off a house, whatever it is, then that's the time where you can sell, and it is a good idea. You just don't want to be throwing away your money and selling. If you pick up silver and then you just have to keep selling a little bit off a couple months down the road because you're just strapped for cash and you're overextended. So it's a lot, I can understand for new people, it is hard to think about, selling your stack down the road, because it is a good thing right now to always consider the premiums and how much cash you're putting into your silver, and knowing that you're going to be in the red for a bit. You're going to be underwater for a while, and you need to make sure that you're financially set to weather that. You know what I mean? You're going to want to make sure that you have enough fiat cash and money to take care of your day-to-day stuff, and you're not going to need to touch your silver. But yeah, for me, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing now. Obviously, the default is just holding on to it and passing it down, so that can't hurt. If you're not selling it, those premiums like I was talking about, you're not going to be affecting it, and it's going to hold its buying power, its hedge and all that stuff, and just passing it down, that's default. But yes, for everything else, if the plan for the silver is to sometime in the future to sell it off, whether it's you or the people that inherit your silver, then it's always good to have that strategy in mind. You don't want to be caught off guard. You don't want to be playing catch up. Nothing can replace the decades of friendship and loyalty that you've built with people, and it's something that can definitely benefit you in the long run when you're finally looking at liquidating some of your stack and putting it into something. So yeah, just wrapping up with the exit strategies, it's always a good idea to be prepared. You prepare when you're stacking for all those decades on your purchasing and how you do that. It's always good to do the exact same thing when it comes to selling, and of course educate the people that you're going to be passing it down to, because you don't want your decades of work and decades of thrifty putting away the stuff, not using that money for another vacation that year you've budgeted away for the silver for down the road. You don't want that all to go to waste for somebody that has no idea what to do with it. So build up those relationships, build up as many as you can. It doesn't hurt to have many different options when it comes time to sell. And yeah, just remember, it's not taboo. It's not a bad thing to sell your silver. It's only a bad thing to sell your silver if you end up in a worse position than you were if you were to just keep it. And again, with this video, I'm not looking to convince anybody about anything that they need to have an exit strategy or anything like that. It's all up to you. You can do whatever you want. But for me, this I find is a good way to look into the future, to plan even more, and to make sure that your silver stack doesn't get wasted in any way. Yeah, that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you are doing, if you have an exit strategy in mind, or if you're just looking to pass it down. Right now, for me, I don't have any exit strategies planned other than the passing it down. I have some things in mind, obviously, like the mortgage thing always pops in my head, where down the road, I end up having it in my stack where I can pay off the mortgage if there's 6 years left on or whatever. That's a big chunk that you're going to be paying off, so that'd be potentially something. But as of right now, I don't have anything in mind, so I'm just using it as that hedge and wealth preservation, and we'll see where it takes me, because right now I'm just looking to hold on to it to pass it down, because yes, I do have a son, obviously a wife as well, so they'll be able to use it and take advantage of it when it's passed down. But yeah, I can't predict the future. There might be something like an asset paying off the house, getting a new car, like some of the things there might pop up, and I might be able to look at my stack and say, well, it makes sense for me to sell this little bit because it can cover this chunk over here or whatever. But yes, as I said, for right now, I'm just doing the hedging and the wealth preservation. But I'd like to hear from you if you are stacking differently, or if you do have a certain exit in mind and what that is. But yeah, anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you come back for the next one. Thank you.